Hello, happy Sunday. Welcome to Beyond Film School. I'm Amber, where I teach you all about the film industry. I hope everyone's having a great weekend. It is beautiful outside, at least in New York City, New Jersey area. So today we're going to be talking about confidence, and this subject I feel like is a little bit closer to my heart and my soul and who I am as a person, as a brand, as Beyond Film School than some other things I talk about. And I feel like I don't talk about confidence enough because I feel like confidence is definitely the most powerful thing when it comes to succeeding. And it really was that thing for me that kept me going throughout my career. It just kept me going through each stage of difficulty, each challenge I had, all the adversity, all the people that doubted me. Coming up in my roots, my humble beginnings, confidence took me way further than I think I really gave credit for at the time. So if you're joining me, let me know. Let me know in the chat where you're joining me from. Say hello. Let me know that you're here. And you have to excuse me, like my voice, I have a cough drop in. I have to lubricate the vocal cords and stuff. I got to get better at projecting. I got to take like singing lessons or voice lessons or something. I don't know. So let me know if you are joining me. Let me know. Beyond Film School is up to some good stuff though before we jump into my live stream about confidence. The film challenge, the Beyond Film School short film challenge. I love this thing. I love that I created it. It is like something I've always wanted to do. So the film challenge is underway. All the teams have been announced. They're getting together. They're having their team meetings. I'm a part of the meetings. I'm so happy. So if you want to donate, I will leave that link for you. If you want to donate to the challenge. We're almost there. We're like 70-something% funded. For the $2,000, I had to give food to the teams, and then for the screening and awards and all this stuff. So that is something I'm very, very excited about. Also, my last class for 2023, my Set PA class, is going to be the registration is coming to a close. I have one more week before the registration ends, and that class happens in August, the last weekend in August. So August is a very, very busy month because we have the launch. This is when all the teams that are a part of the challenge, they find out what their genre is and what their requirements are, and then the writing can begin, and that's when the fun stuff really happens. So thank you for joining me and listening to my spiel about what's going on Beyond Film School. I just can't help it. I want to talk about it only because I'm so proud of all the things. Because I usually do 2 classes a year, and this year I did 3, and I might be doing a 4th one in Atlanta. So, it's a lot of stuff going on, and I'm very, very happy that Beyond Film School is growing. I'm using the strike time to my advantage. Oh my goodness, hi Sabrina. You are watching from San Antonio. Thank you so much. And shout out to Amanda for being a channel member and joining me on this live stream. So thank you very much. So jumping into confidence, like I said, when I started this live stream, confidence for me is what really took me far. It's what kept me going during all the ebbs and flows, the highs and lows of my career. And as you may or may not know, maybe you saw how I broke into the industry. Maybe you are a first-time live streamer or first-time watcher of Beyond Film School. But a little bit about my background is that I'm an assistant director in the DGA right now. Ain't working on nothing right now because we got strikes going on. But I am an AD, and I've been an AD since 2015. I was a first AD in the indie world, and then went to the union world. I was a PA, came up that way. So I kind of have knowledge in both worlds. But before that, I was on the camera journey, trying to be a DP for a hot minute because my love of photography and video kind of has been there since childhood. I mean, I was always playing with cameras when I was little, making up those fake backdrops with blankets and weird plants and just anything that I had. I was trying to make a backdrop for photography. It was very weird. I don't even know how my mom and dad were what is wrong with this child? But they definitely encouraged my love of photography, and I wanted to do that as DP, but I totally switched gears, went into ADing. And moved to LA, didn't really like it, worked on a cruise ship, did all that stuff, and then did that for a couple years and relocated to New York City. And that was when I feel like my real film journey really began because I started from zero. I had no contacts, and really trying to get on those sets and really trying to get on those, the narrative scripted sets was my main goal. And I just wanted to be an AD so bad. So I was really trying to get it. And then I was on set for a little bit, and then I went off set, and then I was like working in broadcasting, and then I did distribution and filmmaking. I had a whole lot of things going on. And then I also, after being fired from that distribution job, which I went out like a champ. I don't care what anyone says. You can be fired, but I went out like a champ because I stood up for my interns. If you guys want to know that story, we'll talk about that later. That is a story for another day, guys. But yeah, after being fired from marketing, distribution, I was head of acquisitions at the time, and working with independent filmmakers and stuff, I went right back into getting into, those day player weeks where I was on 5 or 3 different shows a week, but also I was a barista on the side. I was a barista on the weekends. So it's not all, glamorous. You just hop on one set and you're forever on set. It is hard. It is a challenge. Okay. And if you are working in film, you know the challenge. So feel free to share your comments or, things that you've dealt with in the chat, because it's like, it is not easy starting out, but it's not easy to stay there. And it's not easy to keep getting steady work when you're in the film industry. And I just want everyone to know that it is definitely a challenge. And confidence is directly linked to that challenge, because confidence is basically like, do you believe that you can meet the challenge? Can you surpass? Can you believe in yourself enough to know that you can trust yourself in these tough situations, or keep going and having the willingness to act accordingly when things arise? So confidence is really trust, right? So let's get into what is confidence. And the bare bones basic of confidence, anything, is, confidence in yourself, confidence in someone else, confidence in a product, in anything. It's like you are finding that trust. You are trusting in that thing. So self-confidence, and what we're talking about today, self-confidence is like you trust yourself. For example, when you are a brand spanking new set PA on a set and you have no idea what's going on, and you're like, well, if I have no idea what's going on, how the hell am I going to have confidence? And I think that if you can find it within yourself to trust yourself, to at least be resourceful, find the answers, trust yourself that you're going to ask questions. You're trusting yourself to do the right thing to get through the day as best and as smoothly as possible, right? So I think that it is a feeling of trust first and foremost. And self-confidence is a feeling of trust within yourself. And that's huge. A lot of people struggle with trusting themselves, because I know everyone does this. Everyone does the second guessing. 100% everyone does the second guessing themselves, like, oh, I thought it was this. You guys have taken a test before, and I know you've taken like SATs, GREs, whatever type of things are out there, and you're like, oh, I know it's this. Like instinctually, you're like, okay, it's definitely this answer. But then you like go back and you're like, no, I think it's this. And you just second guess yourself, and then you end up getting the question wrong, right? It's like trusting your instincts is also a part of, that confidence in yourself. I'm going to take my time speaking, guys, because I talk too fast, and make sure my throat doesn't get dry. So a lot of the times with confidence, a lot of people say, oh, that person has a lot of confidence, therefore they are arrogant. Now, what I will say about confidence is that it is not arrogance. It is not a synonym. It is not similar. Now, arrogance is, yes, you believe in yourself, but you also believe that you're better than others. Your skills and your knowledge and your whatever it is that you think yes, I have confidence in my abilities, but you think that makes you better than everybody else, or somehow you have the upper hand and you are bragging or boasting about what it is. So confidence and arrogance, there is definitely a fine line. Don't get me wrong. It is a fine line when it comes to arrogance and when it comes to confidence. They're like right next to each other. They are next door neighbors, guys. We all know that. You've definitely seen that person where you're like, wow, they're really standing up tall, and they're like acting, and they have a really strong vocal delivery, and oh wait, they must be arrogant. Oh, look at them being so arrogant. Well, it's different in the way of like, did they make you feel small in some way? Are they like, well, you know what, it's like we all know that arrogant vibe. We all know it. So confidence and arrogance are not the same thing. And I feel like arrogance is definitely from a place of negativity, and confidence is not. Because you can be confident And you can also be positive. You can also like help other people in their goals or whatever, helping them in something. So confidence isn't necessarily about like just you, because I feel like if I'm confident, that helps other people around me also be confident. I'm trying to like help everyone out, and like, that like a rising tide raises all boats, right? Raises all boats, like, right? That's the right analogy? I have no idea. So if someone's got that right now, just put it in the chat for me. So arrogance and confidence are not the same thing. And I think that a lot of people see a confident person and they're like, oh, that person's arrogant. Therefore, there are so many people out there see that judgment of someone, and then they're like, oh, they're just gonna, if I'm confident, they're gonna call me arrogant. So then they just start making themselves smaller. And then, those tall guys out there, even those tall women out there, when they're slouching over, they don't want to be tall because people who are shorter than them are making them feel smaller, right? So they're like trying to, get themselves smaller. And that's like a weird thing where it's like, be who you are. If you are tall, be tall. If you are like a strong vocal person, be that person. Because I think you will inspire others. And I think that sometimes when you make yourself smaller or you make yourself in some way more inferior to others, it's like you're allowing them to do that. And it's like this weird vicious cycle. So arrogance and confidence, definitely not the same thing. And so I don't want anyone to be like, oh, if I'm confident, therefore I'm going to be arrogant. No. It's all about like your intentions and is it from a positive place? But also, when people are confident, I think that sometimes confidence is largely linked to being a leader. And when you're a confident leader, and if you are making someone feel inferior, then it kind of, you're bordering on arrogance, where it's like, okay, well, I'm the only one that can be this way. No. So arrogance is confidence. It's a fine line, and I don't want anyone to feel like you can't be confident because you don't want to be arrogant, right? So there's definitely a way to be confident and not be an asshole about it. Sorry to swear. So I'm just going to the chat really quick with okay. So saying hi to Amanda and Sabrina. So Chad Rogers is back. Hello, Chad, because you're always on my live streams. I love it. You're in the industry. I love that you are watching my live stream. It's great. So best confidence advice I once got: good professionals appreciate people who ask questions, remain humble, listen intently, keep your head up when you talk, and never lie. So Chad has done one really great thing for me. He has wrapped up this live stream for me, so I can just end it right here. That is but that's pretty much it. It's like, appreciate people first of all, appreciate people. I know you're saying appreciate people who ask questions. Appreciate people, just point blank, period. I love that. Like, I think you just appreciate the people that are around you. That is just great. But then appreciating the people who are asking questions. They're inquisitive. They want to learn. They want to expand their knowledge. Like that. That's amazing. Like, I love when people ask questions. It just shows me that they're at least interested. They're attentive. They're paying attention and stuff like that. So I definitely appreciate people who ask questions. Remain humble. Yes. Facts. And listen intently. I think this is something that people always are. They're so inside their head, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. They're so inside their head that they're like, people are talking to them and they're not really listening to what that person is saying. If you listen, you will learn a lot. You will definitely learn a lot. Just pipe up. Just like... Never lie. That is really good. Stand up tall. Keep your head up. Don't get down on yourself. Whatever happens, and never lie. People are going to like you more, and then you're going to like yourself more, and it's a whole lovely, positive cycle of things. So getting to Amanda, I had self-doubt, but after I worked on set, I felt better. A friend of mine is encouraging me to apply DGA training program. Not sure if I should. Can yet. Then comes to self. So here's the thing, is that don't be afraid. And I'm Amanda, I am glad that someone's encouraging you, because that just gets into the point that I'm going to be getting to, is like your support system. If someone's encouraging you to apply to the DGA training program, that's good to have, because if that's something that you've expressed your goal or maybe your dream or whatever, because I have definitely applied to the training program, and I got this question. I was moderating a We Make Movies Writers Lab. I think it was last weekend. Yes, last Sunday. And someone asked me, because they mentioned that I was in DGA, and they're like, oh, did you try a DGA training program? And I was like, yes, I've applied I think once in LA and 3 times in New York, and got denied every time. But I didn't give up. But also, I'm in the DGA now. So regardless of that program, I still got in. So my persistence and my confidence in myself, like I knew I was going to get into the DGA. I knew it. I was like, it is the goal. This is what I'm striving for, and I'm going to do it. So whether or not you get into the program or not, Amanda, I want to just let you know that it hurt me when I got denied. It really, really I was depressed. I was like very upset. It really hit me hard that I was denied like that many times. Like the first couple times I was like, no, I messed up this. I knew where I went wrong. So the denial or the rejection didn't hurt as bad. But then when I prepared more and I made sure I did all the things that I thought was going to get me in, I got all the way to the interview again, because each time I passed both those tests that they have, and then I interviewed, and after the interview, it didn't go through, and it was just like, what is it that it's like, for whatever reason, I wasn't a good fit for their program. So I just want you to know that if you get rejected, know that you can apply another year, you can get into the DGA other ways, and you can also be an AD regardless of that training program. So just know that there are other options. That's not the end all be all. And I know it's a very competitive program. I know it's very, very competitive, guys. I know that. But it doesn't mean that you can't be an AD one day. All right. There are like 20,000 members of the DGA, and I believe 10,000 of them are ADs, or 8,000 of them are ADs, or something like that. There's a lot. We have a lot of directors in the DGA. There's not that many ADs. I thought it'd be way more ADs than directors, but either way. So I'm glad that she's encouraging you, and the self-doubt is that just prepare as best you can. Practice your interviewing skills, whatever it is. And if you don't, it's fine. It's not the end of the world, and just know that that might be a possibility that you get rejected or you get accepted. So just prepare yourself the most. Okay, so I want to get back to what is confidence. And another thing is it self-esteem? Now, confidence and self-esteem are definitely overlapping, right? And I think where, like, you need self-confidence to be, or you need self-esteem to be confident, right? So the self-esteem is like, do you like yourself? So, and you can have confidence and not have self-esteem. And that is, it's kind of weird when you think about it. So self-esteem is like liking yourself, who you are as a person, and, what you do and what you stand for, all this stuff. It's like those like deep-seated principles of yourself. Do you like that about yourself, right? That's the self-esteem. But confidence, you can definitely be confident about your abilities and you facing challenges and whatever, but then you don't like yourself. And that is so weird, but I have 100% met very, very confident people in the industry, and you can tell that they hate themselves. They do not like themselves. And you're just like, how? Like, it is a very weird combo, but it is way more common than you think. So self-esteem isn't exactly confidence. It leads to confidence, and I think a more deep-seated self-confidence, but it is not one and the same. They definitely overlap, but they're not one and the same. Again, is that feeling of trust, confidence in yourself, your ability, your knowledge, your skills to meet challenges and to get through those tough times, or to face adversity, face certain maybe chances of failure, right? So we're going to get into, is confidence a skill? This debate is interesting, right? Is confidence a skill? Some people are definitely like, yes, it's totally a skill. Having confidence is something that not everyone has. It can be built up, blah, blah, blah. Other times, people are saying it is something that is a characteristic, right? I am definitely on that spectrum of like, it is definitely, it's like, on the spectrum of, is it a skill versus is it a attribute or a characteristic? Definitely it's a characteristic, because someone is confident or they're not. Someone is confident in themselves or they're not. You can totally tell if someone is or not, right? So if it's a skill, you think, well, if it's not a skill, that means I can't build it up. But confidence is really managing. It's like, it's not that it is so much a characteristic, but it is an emotion, right? To be confident is an emotion, and how you manage your confidence is how you're going to manage that emotion in yourself. So, and you can work on it, right? Just like someone can work on their anger, work on their happiness, work on all the things that make you a person, you can work at them. So that's why I think maybe there's this weird debate of whether or not it's a skill or not, because it's like you can build it up and you can get better at being confident, right? Because you can train your brain and you can train your mind and be like, convince yourself that, yes, I am confident. And it's like soon after a while, if you keep telling yourself that, you're like, wow, somehow I've turned out confident. Like I like it does happen that way. And like literally telling yourself all the time, building it up and practicing certain things to find your confidence. I mean, I guess it would be a skill if you think about it that way, but for me, it's definitely like an emotion, or it's like a deep-seated ability, right? Ability, skill, emotion. It's all those things. I feel like the more I think about it, it's like, where do you fall? Is it a skill or is it an attribute or characteristic? Definitely an attribute characteristic that can be built up. So finding your confidence, and the first thing I'm going to say is like yourself. Now, I feel like this is maybe like a common sense thing. Like, of course, you're a person like yourself, but there are so many people that just don't. I am so surprised. And like I said, with the self-esteem and being confident, right? You can be confident and still not like yourself. But I will tell you one thing. If you like yourself, you will be more confident and you will have more belief in yourself when you like yourself. Now, what is liking yourself? Liking yourself is, we're going to talk about all the things to find your confidence. And I think if you do all these things, it's like you like yourself, being kind to yourself. I know that there are a number of people that are watching this and they're going to know somebody that is that self-deprecating, like, joke person who's always like making fun of themselves in a very like dark way. And I'm not really with that. Like I like people who have a sense of humor, but when you self-deprecate and you are putting yourself down in jokes, that shows me that that's how you truly feel about yourself. So I'm not, it's like, if you are a friend of mine, you know that I don't let people make jokes about themselves. Like, I'm just like, that is, and it's really weird how that's a hard line for me and the people who I'm around. It's like, I don't need you to beat yourself up. I don't need you to indirectly beat yourself up. I don't need you also to entertain me with jokes about yourself in a bad way. Also, I will say about people who are self-deprecating and make those jokes about themselves, whether it could be like, oh, I'm ugly, or I'm fat, or I'm unfit, or I'm not smart. It's like, oh my goodness. And they're always making these jokes about themselves. And it's like, you are telling those jokes because you're trying to deal with something you don't like about yourself. Like, it's like your coping mechanism, right? So the first thing I would say to conquer that is stop making the joke. Stop doing it. If you have such a sense of humor that you can actually make a joke about yourself, you can make a joke about anything else, right? You can have a sense of humor about all the things. And I know some people have that. I mean, if you look at certain comedians and stuff, like, I can't even think of one right now where they're just like, all they do is talk about themselves in such a bad way, and people think it's hilarious because they can relate, because they also don't like that thing about themselves, and they get it because that person doesn't like the thing about themselves. What I need you to do is I need you to focus on yourself in a good way. I need you to think about the things that you like about yourself. For me, and I'm not talking about just like your appearance, but that also helps. There are exercises you can do in the mirror and you're like, I love my eyes. I think my eyebrows are fucking bomb as shit. I have really nice lips. Oh my God, my shoulders are really broad and like they're really strong. I have muscles. And then you can find all the things that you just stare yourself in the mirror. You can pick out every day. If you take 2 minutes a day, 30 seconds, even 30 seconds a day, you look at yourself in the mirror and you pick out all the things you like about yourself. And I know the little voice in your head is going to be like, oh yeah, but you know what? Your eyes are like uneven. And like sometimes your ears are uneven. It's like right now, like I'm looking at myself right now. I'm going to point this out. I look at myself right now. My ears are uneven. Okay. Now you guys are never going to unsee it. So my glasses are always slightly tilted. Right. So if I'm looking in the mirror and I'm doing this exercise where I'm telling myself all about the things I love about myself, my appearance, whatever. And I'm like, oh yeah, but your ears aren't even. It's like, just move that to the side. Just like, nope, we're not going to acknowledge it. We're not going to say it out loud. We're going to say, yes, you have a lovely face. You have great whatever. So don't focus on the things that pop in your head that are negative. And that's how you're going to train your brain, because it's like and people are like, oh, but those affirmation and talking to yourself, there's actually science behind it, because what happens is that when you start to do something that is out of your comfort zone, which a lot of people are very uncomfortable saying great things about themselves. So when you say things about yourself, first of all, when you say, I like myself, I am awesome, I am the best, I'm amazing. And I talk about this all the time. Like, I have those moments where like, I'm fucking dope. And I have that moment of like, yes, I believe in myself, I'm really awesome. Like, when you tell that to yourself, I like myself, your body goes through like a dopamine release, and it like makes you feel good because you are telling yourself that you like yourself, right? So when you do these types of things and you tell and you say it out loud, or even in your mind, but I would say I encourage everyone to vocally do it and to actually hear it out loud, is a different experience than just being inside your head and be like, yes, I like myself, right? So there are like neural pathways, and neurologically speaking, like the neurons in your brain and stuff like that, they make connections. So the more and more you do it, the more you're training your brain to do it more. And then like, it's like you're kind of phasing out the negativity that's trying to come in that you're used to giving. Now, here's the thing about the brain is that normally and human nature, our brain goes to the thing that is going to threaten our survival, right? We're going to go to the negative thing. What is going to cause me pain, cause me to die or whatever, right? And that's why we think negatively, because it's like the fear is what is connected to the death or the pain that the human body is going to experience. So it's like we're trained to be like, oh my God, if I get in this car right now and I don't put my seatbelt on, I'm going to get into an accident, right? So it's like, obviously, if you do that, you would, right? So it's the fear that is going to connect to why people think so negatively all the time. Because it's like, it's based on fear and based on what is going to cause me pain or discomfort, right? Uncomfort. So what's going to cause you discomfort is like, the brain is trying to do everything it can to avoid you being uncomfortable. But in order to like yourself, you have to really kind of get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And I don't know if my niece is watching. She's probably not watching, but she's probably working right now. But I remember she worked with me a couple times, and she was like, I'm not ready to work on big sets yet, Amber. I'm not comfortable yet with being uncomfortable. And I was like, I think something is like, things are like getting to her. It's quite amazing the things that she's absorbed from me. But it's true. Like, if you get comfortable with being uncomfortable, things get a lot easier. And while I'm on this rant, I want to say hi to Bianca. She's Beyond Film School alumni. Woo! And she's like, I feel like it's a skill as long as the person wants to work on it and make it better. And that's exactly it, right? And part of confidence is having that open mindset or that growth mindset to make yourself better, right? And that is definitely linked to self-confidence, 100%. So it is definitely like you can grow it. Like, can you grow a characteristic? I feel like you can. I don't know. All right. Now, the next thing, liking yourself is a whole other battle, right? That's the inside. This is internal. The next one about what others think of you, what others think, is the external. And the first thing I will say about what others think, it is none of your business. It is none of your business what other people think of you. Because if you concern yourself with what everyone else is thinking of you, you are just going to be like at a standstill and you're not going to make any progress. Because if I look through the span of my life from childhood all the way to where I am now and listened to all the things that people had to say about me, I probably wouldn't have went to college. I probably would have never finished high school. I probably would have never gotten out of Buffalo. I probably would have never traveled the world. I probably never would have stepped into that first production office that got me my first union job. I would have never taken all of the risks that I've taken. If I listened to my parents, shout out to my parents because they're definitely supportive, and we're going to talk about the supportive network like soon. But shout out to my parents because like my mother and my father, they just want the best for me, right? They're like, we want to make sure you survive, and the bare minimum. A little history about my parents is that like they're at humble beginnings. My dad got his GED, went to the military. They, very blue collar, like blue collar family living in the Lower East Side of Buffalo. And if anyone knows Buffalo, Lower East Side is nothing to brag about. It's nothing to brag about, okay? But they were hardworking. And it was always like they had certain goals for me, but once I hit that high school goal, they're like, all I gotta do, Amber, is graduate high school, and that's it. After that, all the crazy shit I did after high school, college, whatever, traveling the world, going to Australia, working on a cruise ship, relocating twice in my career, which is crazy if you think about it. People barely do it once. So if you're relocating, first of all, I know the struggle, okay? And kudos to anyone trying to restart their life anywhere outside of the city that they're born in. But doing all of that, my parents are always like, you can just do wedding videos. You can just be, why can't you just settle down here? And it's like, if I listen to my parents too, and I'm not saying don't listen to your parents, but they always want the best for you, but you always have to do what you have to do that is best for you, because only you know truly what's best for you, right? So what others think is, I don't give a boop. I cannot. I mean, even if I think just this past year, if I thought about what everyone thought about the film challenge, it being very ambitious, the timeline that I sent. But you know what? I set my dates up. I was like, the screening is going to be here, the shooting weekend is going to be here, the launch is going to be here, the team's announcement is going to be... I said, I wish I can show you my calendar, because I did this whole outline, and people are like, wow, if you get this done, it's like, wow. So not to talk about the film challenge, but if I did what others thought, and a lot of people are like, oh, just do it next year. Like, then I'm going to lose momentum. I don't know where I'm going to be next year. Will I be on a job? Will I have time? So full on took advantage of the strike, the fact that I'm out of work with the WGA and SAG being on strike. I was like, I'm going to take advantage of this. You cannot let what others say about you or think of you affect your actions. Because in the end, it's like they're not living your life. They are not living your life. They don't know truly what you experience or what your experiences have been. And I think with other people, there is always that judgment, right? And like I said, it's none of your business what other people think about you. But that fear of judgment. And Lewis Howes always talks about this. I love Lewis Howes, School of Greatness. I can just listen to that podcast all day long. So shout out to Lewis Howes and the School of Greatness. If you want to listen to an inspiring podcast, please, if you want to work on your confidence and your mindset, that is definitely the podcast to listen to. Not sponsored by, of course, but I listen to it all the time. And he talks about fear of judgment a lot. And that's what holds a lot of things from being done when you want to get things done, or you want to achieve certain things. When people are there, you're like, oh my God, what are people going to think? Who gives a fuck what people think? Okay. Here's the thing. If people are hating on you for the things you do, most likely it stems from envy and jealousy, because they want to do the things you're doing and they don't have the skills that you have, and they don't have the ambition that you have, or the drive that you have, or, for example, when, if on the weekends, when I worked on The Equalizer or any PA show, doing PA work, my barista job on the side, when I was day playing as a set PA and being a barista and doing Beyond Film School all at the same time, trying to run, my first set PA class a few years ago, 5-year anniversary, by the way, this year. But when I first started, there were people who are like, yeah, but you're just a staff PA, but not knowing that I was an AD in the indie world. It's they don't know my entire life, and they're doubting my ability to train new people and to train people to get into the film industry. So stuff like that. And then people would make fun of the fact that I was super productive. They're like, how do you get so many things done? They're make fun of me for it. And I'm like, this is my life. And just because I don't want to just on the weekends just sleep and do nothing, you're making fun of me. It's because they want to also be productive and they can't find it within themselves to do it, right? So that's the thing. That's if people are making fun of you or judging you, it's usually because they admire you and they want to be like you. So let the haters hate. Thank your haters, because they're just only going to inspire you to be like, you know what? You hate this thing about me, but there's a deep, small part of them that wants to be you, because that's most likely why people are hating on you for some reason. So F the haters, do whatever you want, and don't care what anyone else is thinking. And I know that is very hard. That's so hard for people not to care about what other people think. Now, to give you some solace in that, to give you some peace of mind, is that while you're worried about everyone else and what they think of you, do you know everyone else is also doing the same thing? So no one's actually paying attention. And if they are, then it leads back to them being jealous or envious of you. So just spin that. Just spin that in your mind for a while. And you're like, you know what? You're probably right. And that's why I've always just kind of gone ahead and just done whatever I wanted to do in my career. I was like, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to do this thing with Beyond Film School. I'm going to try some things, whatever. I'm just going to do it. So people are overthinking their own lives and what everyone else is thinking of them. It's like, just clear that out of your mind. Just clear some real estate in your brain and just get that out. Like, who cares what anyone else thinks? So the next thing is the people around you, and this is the support system. This is like the major thing that a lot of people take for granted. Yes, I'm talking about that friend that Amanda just said in her comment, her chat comment, where she's like, my friend is encouraging me to apply to DGA training program. Kudos to that friend, because she probably knows that's a goal of yours. And there are so many people in your life, in my life, or maybe not, who knows? I don't know anyone's life, right? Again, I don't know your life, you don't know mine, but there are so many people out there that are going to be like, oh, don't do this. Or that's probably the wrong road, or this is the wrong thing for you, or, they're not supportive, they're negative, and sometimes they can be toxic or bullying or, mentally abusive or whatever, and they can like really hold you back. So the people around you affect your confidence so much. They really affect your confidence so much, because if you have people around you who are like, maybe you need to get prettier, maybe you need to lose some weight, maybe you do need to get fit, why are you eating that? Like, you're not passing chemistry, or you're not active in school, or whatever it is. It could be some that's, I'm not good enough, you're not good enough, you're not good enough, you're not doing these things, therefore you're not going to achieve X. Like, you're not doing X, this or Y, so therefore you're not going to make it to Z or whatever, So the people around you are going to affect your confidence. And this is very hard for people to do, but you have to start not cutting out, but limiting the time with those types of people who don't support your goals and dreams or just support you as a person. And in the past year and a half, I've made some major changes in my life and gotten less time around people who maybe are a little bit too negative. Maybe they complain too much. Maybe they don't really support what I do. And I can see through that weird, shallow thing. They're like, oh yeah, great, Beyond Film School's good. Like, they have no idea really what I'm doing, So you had those people who are just, they might doubt you, and they also will hide behind the veil of, I just want what's best for you. Like I said, like my parents, they just wanted the best thing for me. Where it's like, don't do this, but do that. So whatever your goals are, whatever you're trying to achieve, whatever it is, maybe you want to be a writer or whatever, like in production design or whatever it is, like those are hard roads. But let's face it, any industry that anyone wants to work in is a hard road. To be a doctor is a hard road. To be a lawyer, it's a hard road. To be construction, it's a hard road. To be like a manager of whatever is it's all hard. So what does it matter what you choose? It doesn't, like, you know what I mean? So the people around you, your support system is very, very important. Limit the people who are complainers and negative and not supportive. And I would go so far as to say that cut them out. Say that's like, you know what? And I had a friend like that, and I had to really make that decision where it's like I wasn't getting anything from our friendship, and she didn't really seem supportive of who I was and what I was doing, and also she wasn't giving me the time. So I was like, oh, well, this is kind of just draining me of my energy and my emotions. I was just getting mad all the time. We're like, it's not worth it, right? Don't be afraid to cut people out. And I'm not saying like, just like, Amber said to cut you out, so I'm going to cut you out. But just think about how you can either start to change the relationship or start to change the communication or limit the time that you're around them. Like maybe you visit them once a week. Maybe it's time to do it once a month, especially if family are the people who are kind of not as supportive of your film dreams or goals or whatever. Maybe you don't see them as often. Maybe you just, limit the phone calls or limit the amount of time you go back home and visit, or that you're at home, because sometimes you're in that situation where you're still living at home. I get it. Like, rent is expensive, guys. I understand. It is expensive. I understand. So limiting or even cutting people out, it does make a drastic change in how you think And also, if you have that complainer friend, and I can think of two friends right now that are fairly complainer-y. They complain a lot, and I'm like, oh, goodness me. So it is hard to manage those types of people, especially when I am not a complainer. I am like, if a challenging situation presents itself, I will be like, all right, how do I adjust? And that's something that is a skill of mine, is that I can adjust really quickly and I can figure out how to fix the problem or whatever. Whereas there are other people who want to fixate on the problem. They want to blame somebody, and they want to just start like lopping heads off. You know what I mean? So when people start to complain to me, and it's funny because I just tipped my nephew. My nephew's 14. He just came to visit me in New Jersey, and we went bowling a couple times. We were like getting pretty good, but then we went bowling one time, and then he did really, really bad. And he was like, you know what? It's the ball. It's the lane. This place sucks. And I was like, what are you grateful for? I just stopped him in his tracks. I made him think about anything else. And he was like, I'm grateful for my friends. I'm glad I'm here. I'm grateful for this, and this. And I was like, okay. Like, I just need you to go in a different direction with whatever you're just mad, right? So sometimes if someone complains to me, and I've done this in the work environment too, where I was the second, key second's like, bah! And I was like, but what's a good thing to happen today? Like, what's good? Or how can we solve this problem? Or what can I do to make this better? You know, like, I was always trying to spin it so that person wasn't spiraling and like going down the negativity like hole. And I was like, oh my goodness. Like, and that's hard to do. That is a very, very hard skill, is to like try and stop a complainer, because a complainer loves another person who complains, and they just like, you've seen this happen, like one person's complaining and then the other person's like, yeah, you know what? Yeah. And then they start just going and they start complaining about forever and a day, and they're just like going, and they just keep complaining. So if you shut down the complainer, either they'll walk away from you because they know that you are not giving what they want, because when you encounter a complainer, they want validation that their complaints are valid, right? They were like, I'm pissed because of this. And you're like, okay, but when I ask them, how can we fix it? It gets their mind going a different way, and they don't like that, or they're willing to see it, and they're like, okay, I think we can fix it this way. Then other people who will just walk away and complain to someone else because they seek the validation somewhere else. So the people around you, and finding your confidence, you have to start managing the types of people that are around you. And I'm not saying live in a bubble, because sometimes you definitely need that friend who's going to challenge you, but the people that challenge you in an encouraging way are, I wouldn't say a rare find, but they're say for this, they always kind of say like, to be devil's advocate, what if this? And they ask the right questions for you, and not in a negative way, but more of like getting your mind to figure out like, well, if this happens, I'll do this. If this, they'll help you try and find those things that will help you be a better problem solver, or they'll bring up situations. They're not going to be like, well, if you do that, then this, right? They're not going to do that. They're like, well, what if happens if this? They're trying to get your mind going to find certain solutions. I'm going to go to the chat because Obi-Wan Martin is talking a lot here, and I want to get to his things. So, Oh, yeah, Jack. So, I'm so glad you're back. I'm glad you're watching the live stream. I'm so grateful SAG gave us a waiver. I would have had to temporarily leave the industry. Yeah. So, yeah, that's really great that SAG actually, and I'm going to have a video. I'm currently trying to edit my actors strike video, and I'm like, I did it. I shot it. I had a major headache, and I'm like, oh my goodness. It was very hard to write, hard to like shoot, and then it's hard to edit too. Oh my goodness. I'm trying to get through, and I'm like, I'm trying to make it better. And sorry, Jack, you just reminded me of the SAG video I'm trying to edit right now. It's just taking me too long to edit, and I'm like, why is it taking me so long? But I have other things that are getting in the way of my editing. But yes, I'm very grateful that they've let truly independent films keep shooting, and I think that's amazing. Obi-Wan Martin, first day of uni, get to know you was using not crossing the line as a director my DP gave out to me when I asked their question of focal length. They said loudly they would never trust me as a director. Oh my goodness. See, people who do that, when you ask questions and people respond like that's like totally an ego thing, and that really, it's like, and this is why I don't get mad at people like that anymore. I'm like, it's like either their mother didn't hug them enough, or someone didn't give them enough attention or love or something, or they didn't get hugged today, they're having a bad day, or it's more like they feel like like it's the ego, and they to make themselves feel better, they make someone feel smaller. It's that I just it's like something wrong with them. It's like something's broken in them. You're like, I feel bad for you that you're actually acting like that when people respond in that way. It's so bad. That screwed with my confidence going forward. Glad they ended up in the documentary branch of the degree. Funny thing is, I ended up having to save their graduation film as no one else wanted to do the audio edit, and I was the only person there who could fix their problem. But it's like, isn't that like nice that you're like, haha, you need me. But that, when you're coming up, and I'm Obi-Wan Martin, I'm glad that you shared that, because when people are first starting out and they get someone that's like just barking at them and they say like things like to make them feel stupid, like I've definitely had those moments 100%, or make themselves feel small, or you've been humiliated when you first start out, it definitely messes with your confidence. Like that is linked to making sure that you can't take that shit personally. And it's like, that is so hard to do. When people are like that, it's the them problem. It's not a you problem. You're new and you're asking about certain things. That's a them problem when they're acting like that. And that is what definitely gave me like peace of mind. It's like, this person attacking me right now is not really mad at me, or the way that they're trying to correct me, it's not really about me. It's because they are being screamed at by XYZ person, and they're trying to, transfer it's like a transference of energy, I like to say. Unfortunately, that does happen on set, like that. And that the whole shit rolls downhill thing that people like to say, that's definitely a transference of energy, where it's like, someone yelled at me, so now I have to yell at someone else to let this energy go, and then someone else takes it on and just keeps going. Which is not how you should do things, guys. It's not how you should do things at all. So yeah, thanks for sharing that, because a lot of people have definitely dealt with that. It's like, I think a number one rule, and it's not on this list for finding your confidence, is like, don't take anything personally when shit goes down, right? I don't take anything personally. It's like, you're not mad at me. So the next thing is failure, and I talked about this very, very briefly a little bit, I think in the beginning of this live stream, but failure is a big thing that holds people back, because they're afraid to fail. And one of the biggest things you need to do to be successful in anything, not just film, not just making your movie or writing your script, or being an assistant director, or being a DP, making the best shot movie ever, or whatever, or acting, it is failing multiple times over and over. You need failure. And I think that this is definitely coming more and more into, I think, mainstream thinking, or maybe it's trending or whatever, but failure is a part of success. And I don't know why people are afraid to fail. Like, there's a couple things I've definitely failed at. Like I talked about my rejection and failing at getting into the DGA program, but didn't stop me from getting into DGA, damn it, it did not. So, but also, when you fail, you learn from those things. Like, why did you fail? What is the thing that made you fail? Was it lack of knowledge? Was it timing? Was it just not studying data? Was it not, being knowledgeable of what situation you're stepping into? It could be a number of different things. Failure is definitely something that you need to succeed. I feel like every time I drink out of this cup, it's like an advertisement for Tim Hortons. I'm from Buffalo, and we have a lot of Timmy Hoes. We call it Timmy Hortons in Buffalo. That's why I like this mug. So failure, embrace it. Don't be afraid of it. And I think a lot of people don't want to take the risk because they're worried about perfection, or their what is that, like their streak of some sort? Like, oh, if I fail this, that means that I'm not good at this at all. It's like, it ruins everything. And perfectionism is kind of like self-abuse in a weird way. So failure is something you definitely need. And if you don't fail, it's kind of like, what are your learning mechanisms? You know what I mean? Like, what is the thing that you're going to... I like to say that failure is a trial and error type of mindset. And like, for example, I've launched certain products on Beyond Film School, and they're a complete failure. No one knows about these things because they failed. But for me, it taught me that, what's the my demographic, my avatar, I guess you'd say, and when you're like speaking about business, the people that I sell to, the people who would buy into Beyond Film School, you know what I mean? So what is with that what they're looking for? And maybe I just thought of a product that they weren't interested in, or maybe they're like, why do they need this? Like, was I solving the right problem? So like when you do certain things and you fail at them, you figure out what works and what doesn't. And that's the big thing about failure. And Obi-Wan, yes, failure is the greatest teacher. You will learn so much. And going back, Amanda, to, if she's still on this, I have no idea, but going back to how she talked about how she has that self-doubt about applying to the DGA program, right? I was denied 4 times. Each time I definitely learned something. I was like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done this. And then I like learned like, okay, I did this, I think it's this. And then like I think that's why the last time I interviewed, the last time I applied, I was like, after that last time I was like, I'm not applying anymore to that program. And it's like, I learned that I was not a fit for what they were looking for. And that's the thing, is that like sometimes you're just not a right fit for certain things. And if you're trying to put yourself into a situation where you don't fit, where it's like maybe you think you belong there, but like cosmic energies and universe things are at play here, and it's telling you that this is not the thing for you. And that's okay. That's 100% okay if you're not fitting. And then like, even though you're like, I fixed this and I fixed this and I fixed this, I should get this. Sometimes it doesn't happen. Like, there were different things in the cards for me, and I still got into the DGA no matter, all of that happened. So failure teaches you certain things that you need to know about yourself, or at least the world for that matter. And the next thing, rejection goes right into this, and rejection is your friend. Rejection is your friend. And also rejection is kind of a numbers game, so just think about that a little bit. People are so afraid of rejection, but I don't understand why, because all that's going to happen is they tell you no. And for whatever reason, people don't like being told no, but they are so quick to tell everyone else no. So it's interesting how rejection works. So if you are working in film, know that it's highly competitive, just like other major industries, and not everyone's going to get into certain things or certain jobs. And I think every time you get rejected, it's a new chance for you to explore other options and get accepted to where you need to be. It's getting you closer to where you need to be every time you get rejected. So if you get rejected from something and then they tell you no, do you give up after that? Like, this is where persistence comes in to help find your confidence, because after each rejection, it might hurt a little bit. Take in the pain, the sadness, like, oh, that sucks, I was rejected. Because no one likes to be rejected, because when you're rejected, it tells you that they didn't like me for some reason, or they didn't like this portion of me for some reason. There's something about me that didn't fit into this, or I presented myself some way where, that something that they didn't like, right? So when you're rejected, it's ultimately a reflection of something that someone doesn't like about you. And no one likes to know something that, they don't like about yourself. So it's like, oh, well, I didn't like Amber because she wore her glasses and she wore her hair down, therefore she looked unprofessional, blah, 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 blah. And I'd be like, oh, God damn it. So that means I have to change myself? No. Because I think if you're your true self, rejection gets easier and easier. And like I said, it's getting you closer to where you actually need to be and are more fit to be in, where it's like your right place. Every rejection gets you closer to that right spot. I think if you make rejection your friend, your confidence will go. And I think rejection is linked to what other people think. And once you conquer like not caring what other people think, and then getting over the fact that you're getting rejected however many times, and being persistent and just keep going at it, like your confidence will build each time. Every time. Every small rejection you get over, you're getting closer and closer to a more confident self. You're like, you know what? I know I got rejected from this, but I think this is why, and I'm going to go after this. And I think this is the better pivot. And you're just going to keep going. Each little millimeter, each little rejection gets you closer and closer and closer to your true self and where you want to be. And therefore, like when you know that you're getting into your more authentic self and expressing yourself a certain way, then you get more confident and you like yourself more, and it's a lovely positive circle, and you keep going. It's amazing. Self-awareness is another thing that's going to get you to be more confident. Now, self-awareness is very good because you're going to know what you're good at and what you're bad at, what you like to do, what you don't like to do, what makes you uncomfortable, what makes you feel, great in a situation. And one of the things I do in my Set PA class is I always have everyone, and when I tell people this, I say, okay, everyone take a piece of paper, pen, write down 3 things that are your strengths and 3 things that are your weaknesses, and everyone gets a little uneasy. They're like, oh my God, we're doing internal work. Oh my goodness, it's gonna be bad. And just sitting down and taking a piece of paper and saying, what are the things I'm good at? I don't know, do 10 things, 5 things. I do 3 things because my Set PA class is only a limited time and I only have so much time. And then we go over them and people share them, and I kind of go over them and say, like, you may think that's a weakness, but that's actually a strength, which is funny how many times that does come up. And I think sometimes it just helps to get a different perspective of, thinking what's a strength and what's a weakness and all that jazz. So self-awareness, if you just sit down and say, what do I think is great about me? Great communication skills. I can publicly speak fairly well, or whatever. I have really great leadership skills. And then go to the negative and say, what are some of my weaknesses? I talk too fast when I'm public speaking, which is linked to a strength. It's like, I can public speak, but sometimes I talk really fast. I don't pause and I don't breathe, and I'm like, whoa, whoa. So the fact that I'm aware, you can build on your strengths, and then you can work on your weaknesses, and then they won't be so many weaknesses anymore. They won't be deep weaknesses, something that's going to really hold you back, right? So that self-improvement will come from self-awareness. And with self-improvement is that link to finding your confidence. The more you improve as a person, and the more that you are, you like yourself, and you know what you're highlighting those things about you that you're aware of that make you great, your confidence will build. So it's like going over and making a list. Like, I really encourage anyone who's watching this to like put down your strengths and weaknesses and go over those things. And with your weaknesses, how can you make those better? What can you do to make those things better? And then with your strengths, it's like, how do I make those better? How do I take advantage of those strengths? Like, what can I do to expand upon those things? What can I do to improve those people around me? It's like, how can I share those things? If those are my strengths, how can I, partner with someone that's my strength, but then that's my, best friend's weakness, and we don't open a business together or whatever. So self-awareness is directly linked to your self-confidence, 100%. Discipline. I should have put this number 1, but I think liking yourself definitely is number 1 when it comes to confidence. Discipline, and I am a firm believer in this. And I don't know why I didn't put this higher on the list. But discipline, and I truly believe discipline is literally the one thing. If you work on anything, work on your self-discipline. What is discipline? It is, oh gosh, it's so many things. And I think the long and short of it, the simple explanation of discipline is doing the things you need to do that you don't necessarily want to do. Doing the things you need to do but don't necessarily want to do. Now, it could be I need to read every day. And I do actually read every day. And that's been in the past, 18 months, a year and a half, 2 years, I've made it a point because I wanted to read. I wanted to expand my knowledge. I wanted to get smarter. I have no idea, but I wanted to learn about more things. And I was like, I want to read more. And I'm not reading romance novels and fiction, stuff like that. I'm reading stuff that, I'm real big on reading nonfiction books. I just need knowledge. I need to learn about something because I've discovered, being self-aware, I've discovered that when I'm learning things, I have a more enjoyable life because I'm learning things, and then I can tell, hey, this random fact or whatever. I'm obsessed with learning things. I don't know why. And that it was actually coming from high school. My parents, like I mentioned earlier, my parents set the bar, you have to at least graduate high school. That's how humble my beginnings were. College was not on the table, guys. It was not on the table. So the fact that I loved learning, I loved going to school. I don't know why. And me going back and looking back to my childhood, I loved going to school. I was a very weird child. I did not, even when I was sick, I would fight with my mother because I did not want to stay home. I wanted to go to school. And I've never heard anyone else that also loved school. I had no problems in high school because I loved to learn. I focused on the activities that were there and learning, okay? So that was something that I found to be very unique about me, is that I love learning and I'm happier when I'm learning. So I've made it a point to make sure, even if I'm tired, maybe I slept late or whatever the case may be, like, I need to read every day. Because I know in the end it's going to make me feel better. Also, like, making sure that I am drinking enough water throughout the day. That's such a small thing, but it takes discipline to do that. Brushing your teeth every day takes discipline, for God's sake. But then here's the thing. It's like when you are executing and exercising your discipline muscle, if you do it enough, it becomes autopilot for you. It becomes part of your routine, and then you don't have to think about it. Then you have to force it. So now I've read every single morning, every day for I don't know how long now. And funny enough, I was just telling my lovely boyfriend about this, and I was like, when I was at my mom's house, we dropped my nephew back off in Buffalo. We stayed over at my mom's, and I woke up one morning. I was like, what do I have to do? I feel so, what am I doing? And I woke up, I did not know what to do because I forgot. I was like, oh yes, I usually read, because I wasn't in my apartment. I wasn't at my normal like thing where I'm like, oh, I get up every morning, I have coffee, and I read for like an hour. So because I was at my mom's, it took me out of my routine for a second. I was like, okay. So then we went outside, I read my book, and then I could start my day. It was very weird what happened. It was like this weird, that's how I knew it fully had ingrained into a routine. And if you are trying to achieve anything, it is directly linked to discipline. Are you trying to write that feature film right every day? Have the discipline, whether you're tired or whatever, you don't want to do it. It's like, you have to. If you're trying to achieve your goals, you have to do it. So write every day, write 3 pages a day, take half hour every day to do it. If it's fitness goals, it's like exercising at least 20 minutes every day. It's taking small, like those little micro changes every day. It takes discipline. And for me, one of my goals this year was to be, and here's the thing, it's like, I know for a fact that, like, based on how many jobs I have and how many projects I'm involved in, that Beyond Film School will suffer sometimes because I can't get a video out. I don't have time to, shoot a video, edit it, and then, do all the things that are required, because it takes hours to do these things. But I set the goal for myself to be 25% more consistent the next half of this year. So, and I figured out, okay, so in order for me to be 25% more consistent, I was like, I took the first 6 months and I was like, all right, in that 6 months, this is how many videos I made. And then I was like, all right, well, to be 25% more, I just did the math on it, and I was like, oh, I just need to make 3 more videos to be 25% more consistent the next 6 months. So sometimes discipline is just breaking down certain goals. So like, oh, my goal is this, and break it down month by month, and then week by week, and then day by day. And then you figure out, like, day by day, or 5 days a week, or whatever, maybe you don't want to do it on the weekends, do it Monday through Friday, or whatever your work week is. And it's like, oh, I only need to do this small thing. And by the end of the year, like, oh shit, I read like 30 books. It's like crazy when you think about stuff like that. So discipline is linked to everything. And I really am a firm believer. Like, discipline is literally linked to every single thing in your life. Health, success, prosperity, abundance, liking yourself, projects, art, and everything. Like, even an artist who is being creative, like, they have to go and do it, right? So an artist is creative, but it's like they have to go and execute that thing every day, or whatever their idea is. Or so discipline, I'm like, discipline is definitely one of, I should just make a course on discipline. I think a lot of people are like, oh, Amber, you're so disciplined. It's like, because I firmly believe that it makes my life better. And it's like, yes, I'm going to do the things, even though, like, I may not want to at that moment, but I know it will definitely make my life better in the end, or the day better, or whatever. Like, even when I'm struggling, when I can't run, when my legs are hurting, because I do run, not to be like, oh, I'm bragging about running, but that's one of the things that's like, I like to run. But some days where I know I have to run on those difficult days, because then it'll get me to those nice runs. That's like the easy runs. So I have to do the hard runs. And that's when I have to, like, really instill my discipline. Like, yes, my legs are heavy today and I don't feel like I'm going to be fast, but I'm going to do it anyways, because I know that run will make the next run better. So I don't know if anyone's fitness or runners out there, but you get what I'm saying. Like every little bit that you do, all the habits that you create, it all stems from discipline. So goals, and I talked a little bit about the goals with discipline. If you have goals and you break them down, right? Like I said, I wanted to be 25% more consistent with Beyond Film School, posting videos. That was a goal. And then I broke it down into a smaller thing. And I was like, all right, well, all I have to do is just this. And I was like, oh, and that means I have to do it every other week or whatever, right? And you can have your big goals, smaller goals, but when you break down your goals to smaller and smaller things, they become achievable. They become more and more achievable. And when you achieve goals, every time you achieve a goal, you are building your confidence because you're like, oh, I did this thing. Oh, dope. Oh my God, I did this thing. And then I did this thing. So every time, and I like how goal setting and discipline are definitely like, they're best friends. They're like besties. So I feel like in order to reach your goals, you definitely need self-discipline, 100%. And your goal setting. And some people are really afraid to set goals and they're afraid to talk about them. It's like, I think a lot of people are afraid to express their goals to people because they don't want to be poo-pooed. And that just goes into that the people who are around you know who you can tell your goals to and who not to. Like, don't tell a friend. If you know that one friend's going to be like, well, if you do this, this is going to happen. And then this and this and this. And they're just like, and then it's going to be this like, oh my God, what am I doing with my life, right? Don't tell that friend that goal. But if you are like, you know what, I have this thing, and you go to your open-minded friend who's going to be the devil's advocate in a nice, positive way, and they're like, you know, you could have this happen. What about this? It's like, tell that friend about your goals. So many people, and there's like weird videos on YouTube about not telling people your goals. You need people to help achieve your goal. When you are a human being, unfortunately so, for some people who have social anxiety like myself, like you need people to help you achieve certain goals. Like, and I had the goal to do the film challenge, right? That took a lot of different, different people, ideas, opinions, suggestions for me to execute the film challenge, right? The Beyond Film School Short Film Challenge definitely was my idea. I wrote the outline. I told it to someone. First off, I was like, how about this? Like, I'm looking at this idea. I think I can do it here. And I told it to a person that I knew would be open-minded, would be like, okay, well, if you do that, what then this? And he was able to make my mind think in a more open way, and he wasn't poo-pooing it. But if I went to my complainer friend and told her about this film challenge thing, it probably wouldn't have gotten off the ground, because if I didn't tell the right person. It's like, be careful who you share your goals with. Don't keep them to yourself, but I needed people to help me with it, right? Because I have team leaders. I have professional industry film folks who have experience in the film industry leading my 4 teams, leading Beyond Film School alumni. And without them, I can't do it. So I need people. So the goal of the film challenge, until I was ready to, first of all, face failure and rejection, because I had to talk to multiple people about being a team leader, what they thought about this idea. I had the goal, and then I did the outline. I shared my goals with people, and then it was like, once you talk about your goals, then they're like, oh yeah, Amber's doing this thing, and I think you'd be, and like, I found a team leader because of that. You know, I wanted one more team leader. So I had 3, and I was like, I want one more team leader. And then I found a team leader through a person who I told my goal to that I would otherwise not have gotten if I didn't share my goals with this person. So sharing your goals also in the film industry, as far as like when you're on set, like, yes, I want to be an AD. And when I was a PA, if people didn't know I wanted to be an AD, they wouldn't be like, oh, let me get you to, this. And perfect example is when I worked on Once Upon a Time. I think it was CBS show, long time ago. It was a long time ago when they were shooting it. I think 2018. And they're like, Amber, how come you're not a staff PA yet? Because I was an additional PA for like 2 years. God, I was day player, additional PA forever, I felt like. And I was like, well, I don't know any second ADs. I'm like, I want to be an AD one day. And they're like, okay, perfect. Like, they gave my name because they knew I wanted to be an AD. They were more likely to send my name around. And I'm not saying fake it and be like, yeah, I want to be an AD. If you don't want to be an AD, don't. But that was my goal, and that's the ladder I wanted to climb, and people helped me get there. I can't imagine where I would be if I didn't share goals with people, to be honest with you, because, I mean, And when people are helping you with your goals, that also builds your confidence, because that gives you that self-esteem, like, yes, I'm on the right path. Yes, I'm doing the right thing because other people believe in me. And when you have other people believing in you, you start to believe in yourself a little bit more. So the people around you are very, very important when it comes to believing in yourself and also your goals and achieving your goals, because the more you achieve your goals, then you have more and more self-confidence. Like, all of this kind of works in together in a really lovely circle type way. It's quite lovely. I want to go to Obi-Wan Martin. Let's see. The greatest teacher failure is we're what they grow beyond. This is the true burden of all masters, Yoda. Thank you for that. Obi-Wan. Amanda, that's why aside of the strike, I'm hesitant to apply the DGA training program, but at the same time, doesn't hurt to try, right? Exactly. So, Amanda, I need you to find it in yourself to be like, I'm going to do it. I don't give a fuck what anyone else say, regardless of what I say, regardless of your friends, whatever it is, go and do the thing you want to do. Who cares about the strike? Because, Amanda, I believe you did comment on the one video. I think I did you commented on a live stream, and then I said, they're starting to accept applications in September, but then they start interviewing, and they start testing in February. They interview in March, April. So I don't think the strike's going to really affect the DGA training program with the way you think. So definitely, it's not like it doesn't hurt to try, right? But like, if you're going to do something, do it. You know what I mean? Just go do it. Do it all in, do it. Obi-Wan. Month and a half into my health kick, down 2 pounds, 21 pounds. At 21? Sorry, my font is messing with me. 21 pounds so far. So kudos on that. First of all, so far hoping to lose another 30 by Christmas. Will be the lightest I've been since I was 14. Yo, that is amazing. First of all, like, losing weight is not easy. My secret weapon is like drinking a lot of water. That's my and like, but the past couple months I've gained weight because like I did this like baseball road trip thing, and I was eating really bad for like, I don't know, like a whole week, and after that it was barbecues and stuff. It was bad. So congratulations on the weight loss, and like you will get to your goals. And that's the thing, is like you have this goal of like your weight loss by Christmas. It's like, I'm sure you've done the breakdown, like, okay, by this month, and this day. And also what I will say is that when you set these small goals week by week, there's going to be up and downs, right? There's going to definitely be those like, okay, well, I did this and this day, but then I gained a pound on this week, but then like you can make up for it. And it's weird about dieting, right? I don't want to talk about dieting because that's not my channel, whatever, but dieting is a really good example of this, because a lot of people get into, they want to eat more healthy, but then obviously making the choice from like processed food and junk food and fried food and whatever into like healthy food, like fruits, vegetables, and all that stuff. It's hard to make that change because your body is craving certain things all the time. So it's in order to curb those cravings, at first you need that discipline to make sure it's like, no, I don't want that. Even though my body is like, I want junk food, or I want French fries all the time, right? Or sugar, or whatever it is. Because your body does need some sugar. It's not like you completely have to let go of sugar altogether. It's like, just cut brownies out, and you don't have to cut the fruit out, right? But when it comes to dieting, people are like, okay, every day I'm going to make sure that I drink this much water and I have all this healthy food. And then one time at lunch, they end up having like pizza, and then they totally beat themselves up. And then it's like a spiral downhill from there. And I think that this is when like being kind to yourself, like you are going to make mistakes. And this just gets into your liking yourself and failure. It's like, yes, you failed that meal, but it doesn't mean you have to fail the next meal. And it's like, you can get back on the right track. It's not like, okay, you mess up once. And that whole perfectionism and being afraid to fail, it's like, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to fail all the time. And you just have to kind of roll with it, adjust, keep going, be persistent. It's like, you know what? I messed up yesterday. And there are days definitely when I'm like, yesterday it was a perfect example of this, because I was editing the SAG strike video that I'm making right now. And I'm like, I don't want to edit right now. I don't want to do it, but I did it anyways. I went and I did it, and it's probably not the best way to edit, but I was like, I need to get through the first pass of the edit to add all the fun stuff that I like to add when I'm editing. And that discipline got into it, you know, like I don't really want to do it. There are some days where I'm like, I don't want to listen to any information. I don't want to learn. I don't want to do anything. I just want to sit and do nothing. And sometimes I definitely have those days. They come every couple months where I'm like, I can't do it. I can't be productive. I just need to shut down. And that's probably just my brain and my body telling me to just rest for a second. So being kind to yourself definitely is linked into liking yourself. So I want everyone to make sure that, like, when you fail, like, don't beat yourself up. And a lot of people are really hard on themselves. Oh, goodness. An AD I just worked with, the goal was to wrap at 1 a.m. And he wrapped at 1:37 a.m. And it was almost a complete meltdown. And I was like, we had an impossible day. We had 5 company moves, and you were really beating yourself up over 37 minutes. And he was like, yeah, I could have did better. I was like, did the producers say you did a good job? And he's like, yes. I was like, were the cast wrapped early? Yes. Like, all these things. I was like, we did this. Like, think of all the great things we did today, all the things we achieved, but he was obsessing over the one thing he didn't get right. And I was like, you cannot beat yourself up for certain things like that. Like, we had an impossible day. The cards were definitely stacked against us, and we killed it, working on set. So it's like, be kind to yourself. Don't beat yourself up. Even if you are setting these small goals every day, if you can't achieve them, it is okay. It is okay. Okay? Oh, God, I just touched my mic. I was like, oh, God. So I want to go back to the chat really quick. Once I got my teeth fixed, I stopped drinking Coke and chips, so I've been over 3 months both. That's amazing. Drinking pop kills it. Just slowly cutting back on bread and chocolate. My lips are just shot. That's great. Like, it really is. Like, Obi-Wan, you're inspiring me. I don't drink pop. Well, soda, soft drink. You guys, soda. We say pop. From Buffalo, we call it pop, guys. But those small goals are really, like, just every day. If I can stop myself from, eating, I love cupcakes, guys. I love cupcakes and cake. And every day that I don't eat it, I'm like, yes, I do feel better. My goal is not to eat baked goods today. Revitron Prime. First of all, welcome. I don't recall you ever being on the live stream. So if you are new, thank you so much for commenting for the first time. But if you have watched my live stream, thank you for watching. Pop. Yes, we call pop soda. It's like Pepsi or Coke. We call it pop. In Buffalo, I think Syracuse and Ohio, if I'm not mistaken, we call it pop. There's a cool map of, like, the U.S. that has certain types of, like, names for like Coke and Pepsi and whatever we call it. But yeah, we call it pop. And me being in New Jersey, they call it soda, I think, here. And when I was in Australia, they call it soft drink. So it's very interesting. And, yeah. When people say pop, I say soda pop, Curtis. So my next one, and the last one, is knowledge. If anything is going to help your confidence, it is knowledge. And this is really why, I don't know, maybe I think the more I know and the more I study, the more I do research, the better I feel, and the more confident I am in my ability. And knowledge can come from multiple different things. Observing, which I love observing, because for me, I have, like, the power of observation. That's one of my strengths. Like, if I can watch someone do something, I can really retain how they do it, and I could probably mimic them enough to get into the flow of it the first couple times, and then I'm able to do it. So power of observation, that is one way you can gain knowledge. Reading, looking at data, like a certain, I don't want to say experiments, but, like, sometimes you can, like, go into a situation and set something up, and then you can learn something from that way too. You can say, like, your scientific experiment in certain ways. So knowledge can come into training, practicing certain things. And I think that knowledge is really underrated sometimes when it comes to self-confidence, because the more I know about a situation, so if I'm trying to write a script or write a book or, make a video, the more I learn how other people are doing it too is going to help me in my confidence to achieve certain things and to go ahead and try certain things, even if I might fail at them or I could get rejected or something like that. So another thing with this film challenge. And I love how I feel like I can connect a lot of this to the film challenge, because that is something that is one of the newer things I've ever engaged in, where I've had to do a number of different things I've never had to do as far as Beyond Film School, like involving people, fundraising, finding screenings, judges, and writing up the whole outline and requirements, and just a bunch of different things. And if I didn't study how other people did it, or gain knowledge on how to fundraise, or how to, talk to people, email people about donating, or setting up, a crowdfunding page or whatever. Like, if I didn't have the knowledge to do that, I think I would have been way less confident in trying to achieve that film challenge. So I think that all of these things are definitely involved in finding your confidence. And whatever your goal is in film, or in life, really, I mean, let's be honest, because you can use it in film. And I'm going to talk about confidence as far as it's relating to film, but also when just in life, finding your confidence just helps you go further, faster, as far as I'm concerned. Because I feel like if I wasn't confident, I wouldn't have gotten as far as I am now, 100%. So I will say there are some things about confidence in yourself, and I think that for me, a big one is social anxiety, and talking to people and asking people for help are really big weaknesses of mine. Asking people for help is like, because I was raised in a tough area, and I was taught to be resourceful, right? And I really found confidence that I could be resourceful and find the answers if I needed to, and figure things out, right? But I never liked asking people for help, and that was a huge thing for me. And that was something I've practiced this year with the film challenge. Is like, I've asked multiple people for help in this film challenge, so I'm very proud of myself. Very proud. I could have been totally rejected, but I took the risk, and I was like, and it's funny because when I'm talking to my team leaders for all the teams, I'm like, this could all crash and burn, and we could just fail horribly, but we're just going to keep going forward. Once I got that out of my system, that self-deprecating thing, I was like, all right, this isn't gonna crash and burn the way I think, and I think that there are enough people involved for us to go forward and succeed. And the social anxiety of it all is tied to the people around you, right? And I think the more you get encouraged, and the more that people believe in you, and the more you actually start believing that you are that person everyone else thinks you are, and then you start liking yourself, and it kind of helps in that social anxiety situation for me, because people are like, Amber, you're so good in social situations. I'm like, it took a long time to get there, guys. I've practiced. The discipline to practice. We have, let's see, Matos Film? Am I saying it right? I hope I'm saying it right. I've been in the industry for 3 years, and you and a couple people, and you and a couple people onto YouTube. Okay, excuse me, I cannot read apparently. Matos Film. Okay, been in the industry for three years, and you and a couple people on YouTube started me out in my career, but I felt stuck for some time being a PA. I want to get into product photography and do my own thing, but I feel people keep pushing me to be a grip, and I don't want that. With this strike, I feel I'm struggling to make ends meet. Any advice? Okay, so with the strike, there's a couple things here. So a couple things that I will say first is, people are going to try and force you in a certain direction, and that just sucks, right? And I think that as long as you keep telling everyone what you want to do, like, I want to do product photography, or I want to do photography, like, as long as you keep talking about it, and as long as you keep seeing yourself as that thing, because I haven't even talked about visualization and the power of that, and visualizing yourself as a thing, that goes so far, and that goes into just that whole liking yourself and telling yourself you like yourself. I like myself. It's like, if you visualize yourself being that thing, and then just honestly, I mean, I don't know what your skill set is. I don't know what you are on set, but because sometimes it's like, oh gosh, this is a perfect example. An AD friend of mine, when he first started out as a set PA, and people were like, he wanted to be an AD. That was his goal. He wanted to be an AD. He wants to be an assistant director. But every time it was like, I think you're more cut out for locations. And he didn't want to be a locations PA. He didn't want to be in locations. Doesn't want to be a locations manager. And that's what he got told over and over and over again. He was like, they're like, you are a good fit for this. Like, this is the box that you fall into. Against all odds, he's a first AD now. And, you know what I mean? So it's like, that is the thing where, like, people are going to try and push you into a corner of, like, that's what it seems like you fit into. And I'm not going to be like, don't like say, I don't want to say fuck them, but like, fuck them. Like, that is something that if they're pushing you to be a grip, that sucks. Just let them know that, like, here's the thing. It's like, you don't know where opportunities are going to come from. You don't know where they're going to come from. For example, like when I was on New Amsterdam and I ended up being a walkie PA, but I wanted to be a background PA, but they didn't have any more background PA positions. But then they were like, well, we have a walkie PA position. And I was like, they're like, do you want that? And I was like, I guess so, But then I made the most of that opportunity. And then it got me that key PA training where I really wanted to be. Because my ultimate goal is to be an AD, so of course I want to be a key PA. So I don't want to say I leveraged myself, but I made the most of that opportunity, and I did the best I could in that opportunity, and like had integrity in that position, and did my best in it. And then people saw me in such a good light that they were like open for me to be a key PA, and then ultimately an AD. So sometimes you don't know where certain opportunities will lie. So like if someone's offering you a grip job, but then how you're doing that grip job, right? For example, if you're like, you have a bad attitude, or you're not really like, I don't really want to be here. I'm supposed to be doing product photography, blah, blah, blah. So it's kind of like the way you are, and I'm not saying you are doing this, but I think that sometimes if you are in a position and you keep getting offered a position that you don't like, people can tell. And then I think with maybe that negative energy, people are less likely to give you certain opportunities that are meant to come your way, right? So I think, first off, if there is a position that they keep offering you, take it, but then also make it known that your goals are X, Y, and Z, right? But right now with the strike, it's hard for everybody right now. Everyone's collecting unemployment. Everyone's like, it's hard. So I think with the strike, unemployment, that's one thing. Make sure you're applying for unemployment, because some people for some reason in the film industry are like, oh, I make tons of money and I make a whatever day rate, but then when it comes to unemployment, they're afraid to apply for unemployment even though they qualify for unemployment. It's like, you paid into unemployment, you should reap the benefits of unemployment if we are unemployed. In a couple months, we'll be back. We'll definitely be back on a film set. So yeah, a few more weeks and then we'll be back up. And that's just my very, very loose prediction of when we're going to be out of this strike. But with you wanting to be a product photographer, I would say during this time and all the time that you have off, start to photograph certain products and build up your portfolio. Offer to do the photography for companies pro bono. Start to build your portfolio and your client base and deliver something great every time you do something for someone. Because 1, it's going to give you practice. 2, it's going to give you word of mouth if you're really good. 3, it builds your portfolio for when like more people start to look into you. So the more and more portfolio examples you have of product photography, it's like, it's only going to benefit you to take this time to focus on your craft, right? So while, yes, it is hard to make ends meet with the strike going on, with you being a grip, take this time. Take advantage of this time to really, like, get some more product photography clients under your belt. Or, yeah, I definitely offered to do it for some people. Reach out to small businesses. If you reach out to small businesses, and I feel like that one lady who talks about, like, $1 million businesses all the time on YouTube. I like her. Cody. Her name's Cody something. I can't remember her last name. But like, if you reach out to small businesses online in your area, whatever, and say, hey, I'm a product photographer. I am looking to expand my client list. No cost to you. I just want to, photograph some things for you, and you can recommend me to X, Y, and Z. You can leverage yourself and also say, in exchange for me doing this for you for free, your photography will be on my website, stuff like that. So it's kind of like, you can be a businessman. Be like, yo, do it for free for some people, and then just say, hey, in exchange, you're just gonna, tag me on your social media, whatever it is, or on your website and stuff like that. I did a job because I didn't think I would qualify. LOL. Okay, I'm gonna catch up. Okay, I wanted to get into the part. Okay, any advice? Okay, I remember someone saying, with your degree, you're never going to get a job. If I hadn't applied multiple times for different jobs and taken Amber's course, hey, shout out to Amanda for my course. I wouldn't have gotten any gig last year. So I don't know. You said I remember someone saying, with your degree, you're never going to get a job. So Amanda? What was your degree in? What did you get your degree in? Because I just met up with my friend from LA. We went to the same college together. I haven't seen him in forever. And I remember right before we parted ways and we had lunch or whatever, and we went back home. Before we parted ways, I said to him, I was like, isn't it really cool that we both have union jobs in an industry that we went to school for? And I have been so proud of that, the fact that I know so many people in my field where, like, I went to school for communications, like Amanda. So you're saying communication, films, and broadcasting. So many people are so doubtful that you can't find a job, but like, I had job after job after job after job after job after job. Like, I've gotten multiple jobs, every single job except for the fact that I was a barista part-time when I was day playing as a PA, like working in broadcasting, working on a cruise ship, doing video and editing. Like, all this stuff was because I went to school for that. So people don't know what you're talking about. And there are people who go to school and they don't use their degree. And I remember when I was in school, and I said to everybody, I was like, I will use this degree. I said to myself almost every week, every day, I was like, I'm going to get a job where I use my degree. Like, I was not going to go to college for this many years and not work in the field that I studied, or like, there was no way I was not going to be working in media production of some sort. I was going to be working in film production, media production of some sort, some way, shape, or form, no matter what. I was determined. But that's largely what I told myself every day. And I was like, I'm going to get a job on this. I'm going to get a job on this. So for me, that is definitely something that, like, you have to just kind of keep going no matter what. So thank you for offering, like, all this info. Let's see. Obi-Wan, Matt Silva. Yeah, so he's make a mini portfolio of pack shots. Why exactly? Yes, 3 poster shots, leaflets. If it's whiskey, buy a bottle of whiskey, 1 light. Exactly. So I would even say, like, you can talk to small businesses, local businesses around you. That is one way, because then you're going to get word of mouth in the area that you're in, which is good, right? And also what Obi-Wan Martin is saying is that, like, take a famous product already and do it, right? It's kind of like when editors are first starting out and they want to be a trailer editor. They're like, well, take your favorite movie and then make a trailer for it. It's not that you can use that as something that's like, hey, I've edited a trailer for this movie, or even offering, your editing skills for a student film. Like, I want to edit this into a trailer for you. So it's not to say like you are offering free services, but sometimes that's what it takes to just do a couple of freebies to get the ball rolling, because you have to build your portfolio. You have to have a website. So Matzo Film, I hope you have a website. If you don't, definitely get like a Wix page. That's free. Or a Squarespace is another free one. Like, there's levels, right? There's certain levels of subscriptions and stuff you can get. So definitely there's a way to make this happen. I did get it. Okay, so I did get a job because I didn't think it would qualify. I don't know what you mean. I think that's a different comment that maybe, I'm just looking. Okay. A cheap, lazy Susan from eBay works wonders too. Faux marble bathroom tiles for reflections, fancy looking. Matzo Film, I feel like we're all just giving you these ideas. I feel like you need to check back in with me. You better give me an email at beyondfilmschool@gmail. Let me know your progress. Because if you don't implement all these ideas, if you really want to be a product photographer, you will do it. and you'll do the work that is needed. I really appreciate you. I've edited for people I've worked with and have examples of my lighting work, but we'll work on my site. Yo, thank you. Thank you for saying that, because like, definitely have a site. Get your products on there, all the photography on there. Do up your website. Also, from Amanda, if you would like help with the film challenge before the screening, I'd be happy to. Amanda, what do you want to help with? I don't know. First of all, Amanda, I thought you were going to apply. I don't know why you didn't apply. Maybe you're busy. I don't know. I thought you were going to apply. There are a few people who I thought were going to apply and they didn't. And I was like, kind of like, oh, bummed out. But I think I probably could have had like 5 teams, but then I needed another team leader. But either way, so please work. If you have confidence issues, I mean, I feel like sometimes I do. Sometimes I have those days. And that's the other thing I didn't really talk about was if... when I have those down days, like I'm pretty confident. I'm pretty confident in my resourcefulness, in my ability to handle challenges and adversity. I am confident in my ability to persevere, first of all, and I'm okay with failure, and rejection hurts, but also I'm like, you know what, I'm going to learn from the rejection. So I'm not saying it's like all rainbows and candy canes and just puppies and, you know, it's hard because I definitely have those days where I'm like, am I doing the right thing? Are people annoyed with me? Am I posting too much? Like, and this comes into like me being an entrepreneur, not just working in film, where I'm like, did I do the wrong thing? Did I do the right thing? All the things. And I have those days, and sometimes this is definitely hormone based for everybody, and also health based, because if I'm having an off day where like maybe a couple days ago I had like a lot of junk food, or maybe I went to a barbecue and I had like cake and stuff, like the fact that like sugar affects my hormones and affects my brain and whatever, like how healthy I am the next day, I can directly link how I think after having bad food or something. It's really crazy. And Obi Martin, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about, where it's like when I have a down day where I feel like, oh my God, like what am I doing? I have a little bit of anxiety, I'm doubting myself a little bit. Then I have to get back into my discipline of like, no, you like yourself, you're dumb. Like I have to tell myself those things. Because when I'm having a dope day and I think I'm awesome, I don't really need to like tap into my discipline and telling myself these affirmations and all this stuff. So me, in my experience now, I definitely still have those days where I'm like, am I doing the right thing? Did I do the right thing? Oh, I messed up, or, you know, I second guess myself. I have those days all the time. It happens all the time. So for me, like, I'm not perfect, and I know I'm not perfect, and I'm very far from perfect, and I definitely accept that. So you have to accept the bad days and the good days, but then also like know that the good days are not going to last forever. You know, this too shall pass. This is something I always remember, and it's all I need sometimes is just like drink some more water. Sometimes literally it's like drink some water and have a cucumber, or like have some vegetables. The things that you really like, that you ingest, do have a direct effect on how your thinking is and how negative it is or how positive it is. It's pretty crazy how that is really linked. Thank you so much for joining me in this live stream. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions, please let me know. I saw Oppenheimer this weekend, and just to quickly talk about that, it was a very, very good movie. Cillian Murphy killed it. A stellar performance. I don't know what anyone thinks about Oppenheimer, and yes, I chose to see Oppenheimer first, okay? And I think Barbie opened up at like 130 million this weekend, and Oppenheimer only did 80 million this weekend at the box office, but like, I love Christopher Nolan, and I am a fan. People hate Inception, but I love Inception. I love Interstellar. I love all his movies. The only movie I did not really like was Tenet, because that one was a very, very hard time warp movie to follow. But Oppenheimer definitely did not disappoint as far as the editing. Definitely classic Nolan storytelling and editing. That was what I was here for. Obi-Wan, you're talking about the projection? I don't know. Do you have any issues with projection? What do you mean? Elaborate. I need more. So if you guys, Help for social media, marketing, what I currently do for my office, but my goal, 81%, I've been in the same workplace. Amanda, email me about what you would like to do with the challenge, because I am setting up the screening. Also, I am still fundraising. I think we have like $300 left to get to my goal. I'm looking for a place to screen if I'm like putting it out there. I've seen a few places that had major... Really? Okay, so when I saw Oppenheimer, we saw it at AMC. There was something wrong with it. I didn't see anything wrong with it. Some of the 70 millimeter screens cut out with 40 minutes left. Oh crap! I'd be really mad, because at the 40-minute left mark was like some good stuff happening in that mark of... That's so horrible. But that did not... I hear it's a cinephile movie. I don't know. I thought it was really, really good. I think that it was... I just loved it so much. I don't know. But I'm definitely going to see Barbie. Probably not this weekend. Probably next week. I don't know. I am going to see Barbie, though. I definitely want to see what Greta Gerwig did with it. I hear this. What do you mean? Do you mean that in a mean way? My Toast film? Like, what do you mean by that? Cinephile? What do you mean? I don't know if I really cared for Emily Blunt's character. I didn't really care for that, but so good. I did think on the first half of the movie with the music, the score was a bit much. I felt like it was nonstop music the whole entire time. If I were to get critical, okay, good, in a good way. Okay, in a good way. My Toast film, good. So if I were to get critical of Oppenheimer, the only thing is the 3 hour runtime did not bother me, because it did not feel like I was sitting in the theater for 3 hours. So that's a really good thing. That means you're like really engaged in the movie, even though it's 3 hours and you're like, oh my God, why is this movie this long? I did not have that problem in Oppenheimer. But I did like his use of black and white versus color. But then there was one moment where one scene was in color and I was like, wait a minute, this scene should be in black and white. So I was very confused about that. But it's probably one of those things where I have to watch the movie over again. So I am... Let's see if I were to... Yeah, so the music in the first half was a little bit too much over your... Like hit me over the head with it. It was a lot of different music, and I thought that was probably a little bit too much. But definitely did a good job of building the anticipation, and then they used silence to his advantage, and I like that a lot. So just to get a little nerdy on film and stuff like that. So that is it for now, guys. Thank you so much for joining my live stream and letting me nerd out about confidence and all the things. Remember, just tell yourself that I like myself. Literally. Oh my God, Josh. I'm going to say hi to Josh for a second. Josh. Thank you, Josh. I haven't seen you in a long time. I hope you're well. Josh is a BFS alum as well. So happy to have you on the live stream. Yeah, so just do me a favor. Tell yourself you like yourself every damn day. Just like literally, if you're having moments of doubt, like you're going to give yourself the dopamine hit that you need. Like, I like myself. I am awesome. I'm amazing. I'm dope as fuck. That's my favorite one. I tell myself I'm dope as fuck. And then I make myself laugh, and then I'm fine and relaxed, and I'm good. Don't give too much attention to what other people think about you. You got to do you. Remember, they're probably thinking about what others think of them. They're not even paying attention to you like that. The people around you, your support system is very, very important. Limit the negativity in your life. Limit the complainers that are around you. And I say limit because I know cutting people out is very, very harsh, right? It could be a little bit too much for people. So just limit the amount of time that you're around those people who are maybe negatively affecting you in a bit. Don't be afraid of failure. You are going to need failure to succeed. Failure, as Obi-Wan Martin has said, is the greatest teacher. I believe he did say that in the chat. I hope I have the right person. But yes, failure is the greatest teacher. You will learn so many things about the world and yourself when you fail. And every time you get rejected, it tells you a little bit more about yourself, and it gets you closer to who you need to be around and where you need to be in your life. Self-awareness, learning about yourself only expands your knowledge about yourself, what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, what you can work on, what you can expand upon, what you can do to help others. Discipline is the the foundation of everything. I feel like discipline. I cannot say enough about discipline. If there's anything you can do for yourself, is to be more disciplined. Therefore, if you implement discipline in your life, you will definitely be 100% absolutely more successful. And I swear, if I were charging or something, I'd be like 100% guarantee if you implement discipline in your life, you will definitely see and reap the benefits of it. I swear to you. Set goals for yourself, break your goals up into little pieces to get to the big goals, and expand your knowledge. The more knowledge you have, the better you can handle certain challenges that you're going to face in your life. And that is something I full on believe. And those are those things, if you start to work on all these things, you'll start to find more and more confidence in yourself, more and more confidence and trust in your abilities and the things that you can do to succeed in life. Do all the things. Okay, so Barbenheimer. I haven't seen either yet, but a tagline should be, one is light and airy, the other is extensions. I mean, this is true. So thank you guys for joining me in this live stream. I shall see you guys next time. I should have a video out Wednesday. I think I should be done by Wednesday. Yeah, I'm still working on this edit for the strike. At this point, the video I'm editing right now on the actor strike is going to be like out of date. I'm just like, I'm taking so long to edit it. It's so horrible, but I'm still going to post it because, you know, I got to post it. I cannot be perfect. It's not going to be perfect either way. That is my own thing as a YouTuber and as Beyond Film School. And then on Friday, August 4th on Friday, the film challenge launch starts. That will be live on YouTube as well. Every team is going to get their genre and their required elements. We are still fundraising for the challenge. So if you can contribute, I would love you forever. I cannot find that link right now. It's so horrible. But here we go. Let me see. But if you can share it, I would love you as well. If you can share it, that is good enough for me. I'm trying to get there we go. Sharing is caring. I have, I think, $300. Let me see what I'm up to. $300. Because all the teams want to feed their crews. There's 4 teams, 4 crews, so the funds will be split up. But on all the teams, they're going to get money for feeding their crews, and then also for the screening, the prizes. And with the film challenge, Lightbulb Rentals has sponsored the challenge, giving $250 of gift certificate to the winner of the film challenge, whoever wins best film, and to $250 to rent whatever from Lightbulb Rentals. And also they're giving away 2 free lights to each team, which is amazing, especially if someone doesn't have any lights on teams, because remember, the challenge is write, shoot, and edit, make a movie in 9 days with no money. So the fact that they're giving 2 lights, they have the challenge of using those lights, but the challenge is that they have to use their own resources. So people are like, Amber, you crazy making this challenge, but man, everyone, I've seen the emails getting their teams together and everyone's going after it and they're really bringing it, and I'm so proud of everyone that's involved. Everyone's like ready to go. Everyone's so gung-ho, and I'm very, very happy about it. So film challenge live stream's coming up on the 4th. And then my Beyond Film School Set PA class registration closes this Friday. So one last week to enter my last class for the year, because after that, this is my last New York City class for the Set PA class. And then I might be going to Atlanta in December. 90% chance of that. Then the next one in New York is going to be in February. So this is the last one for the year, 2023. So I have a couple spots left in that class, so last week to sign up for the August Set PA class. And then, of course, I have my online Set PA class. If you are not in New York and you want to learn from me, you can take the online course. So that is it for now, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Definitely have confidence in yourself, like yourself. And that is it for now. I shall see you next time.